This is NHTV2, North Haven Government Television, a service of North Haven Community Television. The following program is brought to you through the support of the Town of North Haven.
Good evening and welcome to the August 27, 2024 meeting of the North Haven Board of Police Commissioners. My name is Larry Lazaroff. I'm the chairman. To my left is Bob Hannon, our vice chairman. To my right is Mark Calafiore, our secretary. Missing tonight is Alden Mead. He may feel late, you don't know. Can I ask for the approval of the minutes of the July 30th, 2024 special meeting, both regular and executive session, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any correspondences?
Mr. Chairman, we have one piece of correspondence tonight, and this is from Charles W. Sherwood. He's the director of the South Central Criminal Justice Administration down in New Haven. It's a testing agency for policing, and he just sent out a nice, kind letter to Chief Kevin Glenn. He just wants to thank the chief for, on behalf of the Madison Police Department, thanking Kevin Glenn for allowing Lieutenant Matthew Falcon to serve as a panelist at the recently held oral board examination for the position of sergeant. So thank you, Chief Glenn, and thank you for Lieutenant Matt Falcon for his services. And that is it.
Awesome. For Chairman's report, I will be brief as we have a fairly extensive executive session tonight for interviews. I just want to remind everybody that school has begun, and so please be even more careful than you usually are. Watching out for children in school buses and paying attention to these crosswalks. Not all these schools have a lot of extra help there, so just be aware of what's going on. I was happy to see that the motor vehicles stops were up this month, which maybe we'll address that as well. I'm very pleased about that. And just a monthly reminder to please lock your cars, your homes, your sheds. We have to be on offense to prevent crime from happening in our community. With that, I will pass it along to the chief for his chief's report.
Thank you. I'll also be pretty brief because of the executive session. At the end of the fiscal year, ending June 30, 2024, we closed at 98.4% expended, so 1.6% under our overall budget, which we're happy about. As you know, all year overtime tracked very high. That was the biggest driver of our budget overages as far as line item to line item. And that was primarily because of dispatch overtime vacancies, special details for crime prevention, distracted driving, ATV, and street takeovers. Our training line also tracked high, as well as our building maintenance. So we were fortunate to capture a good amount of grant funding at the end of last fiscal year to offset some of the overtime. And we cut back on other lines to make sure that we fell in line. Does anybody have any questions about the overall budget?
No, just my compliments as always. You've done a phenomenal job, as have prior chiefs as well, in managing the money, and kudos to you for doing a great job in difficult times.
Thank you.
And I'll just echo that. Very good. Nice job, Chief, as always again. Thank you.
Under our traffic report, we recently had a significant dirt bike accident. A 21-year-old town resident went off the road on Pool Road, sustained life-threatening injuries, and our regional crash investigation team is handling that investigation. We have one signage request to be considered tonight. About a year ago, the commission approved no parking signs on McDermott Road for Medtronics. On the east side of the road, the request and the recommendation from our traffic sergeant, Sergeant G. Pascal, is to extend no parking signs on the eastbound sign and then add more new ones on the west side of the road. So just looking for a motion to approve the recommendations from Sergeant D. Pascal.
So I would definitely endorse that. I'll make the motion that we add the proper signage as Officer D. Pascal has recommended. I have a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Under training and professional standards, please refer to your packet for all the training that we've been conducting. Again, we try to stay as up to date as possible and do even more than what's mandated and necessary. So it's pretty significant. And we are approaching, I believe, year 3 of our CALEA review this fall. So Captain Thorpe is preparing for that review, where a CALEA assessor will remotely review our policies, all of our proofs and standards, make sure we're on track. Personnel update, we have one officer still on field training. She's expected to end training in mid-October. She'll be on her own. We still have one officer out on maternity leave. We expect her to return September 10th. As you know, one sergeant retired recently, so in executive session, we'll be interviewing to fill that position. As you know, we have two budgeted positions, or approved positions, beginning in January, so they'll also be part of the interview process tonight. And we anticipate one retirement in January. So we expect 4 open positions over the next few months. We had one dispatcher resign, so now dispatchers we only have 6 full-time out of the 8 full-time budgeted. So we expect over the next few months that overtime will begin to creep up again. But we have some interviews scheduled internally next week to fill at least one of those positions. So year to date, there's still an increase in calls for service compared to the previous year. At the end of July, we were at 16,586 compared to 15,518. Motor vehicle stops just in July, as the chairman commented, we had 312 stops compared to 171. Year to date, at the end of July, we had 2,023 motor vehicle stops compared to 1,167, so almost double the stops we had last year. Total arrests are also up, 325 compared to 267, and all larcenies, which is a category that captures everything from shopliftings to catalytic converters to thefts from yards. That category is down. We're at 242 compared to 283 last year. Like I spoke about the last few months, more officers on the road, there's more opportunity for proactive policing, which leads to more car stops and deterring more crime. We are continuing to participate in the Violent Crime Task Force, which has been successful for us in collaboration with the region and New Haven, the city of New Haven. We continue to receive grant funding for violent crime reduction, stolen vehicle, deterrent patrols, and regional traffic enforcement. This week we'll be out in Guilford participating in that traffic enforcement with the other 5 towns. Please refer to your packet for the Investigative Services Division report. There's a lot of detailed information there, but just a few categories. We had 9 stolen cars in July, which has been the highest month so far this year, unfortunately. 4 have been recovered so far. We've had no commercial burglaries and no residential burglaries in July, which is always nice to see.
Are these cars locked or unlocked?
I don't have the breakdown for this report. Typically they're unlocked with the keys in them, but not every single one of them. We had 2 purse snatchings. We believe it was the same small group of individuals. They both occurred within days of each other on Universal Drive. That's under investigation. We had a bomb threat recently at Amazon. As you can imagine, evacuating a building that size with that many employees caused a lot of chaos and loss of a lot of money for the business. Detectives were able to identify the suspect, and an arrest was made on that. Just a couple updates. We recently responded to Cloudland Road for an incident where a resident was shooting a firearm in his backyard. His neighbors called, they were terrified. Responding officers were met with an uncooperative, intoxicated male. He threatened to kill police officers, which prompted the activation of our regional SWAT team. They had a 14-hour standoff, and in the morning, next day, on the 20th, the individual started shooting at police officers. Some rounds were exchanged between police and the suspect. Nobody was injured. He was taken into custody, and he was held on a $5 million bond. The majority of the charges that prompted the $5 million bond was because he was shooting at police.
So let me just say that I've had a lot of positive feedback on the way the North Haven Police and the surrounding departments, including SWAT, have responded to that incident, and the way it kept everybody informed, and just was a good job, and thank God nobody was hurt.
It's a great program that we participated in for a long time. Captain Joe Wozniak is the commanding officer. He's a North Haven captain. He's the commanding officer of the regional SWAT team. He does an outstanding job. In terms of the communication strategy, Deputy Chief does a good job with social media as well as traditional media, getting the message out to, especially the neighbors, but everyone in that neighborhood. They're going to be on edge when something like that happens, but we do our best to get the message out that it's contained and we're working on it, and try to give as many updates as possible. Next week on September 2nd, we start our 4th K-9 in training with the Connecticut State Police. And that is a 4-month program, I believe. So prior to Christmas time, holiday time, mid-December, we'll have that officer and K-9 back on the road, which we're looking forward to. And as the chairman noted, school started yesterday. We have extra patrols in our school districts and monitoring the bus routes, conducting speed enforcement, and just a larger presence in the area for the school safety. I have no request for the Veneri Scholarship this month, and everything else is for executive session.
Any questions or comments? Mark?
Good.
Bob? Okay. With that, I would offer a motion for adjournment for executive session.
Make a motion that we adjourn for executive session.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are back now in open session after having conducted interviews in executive session. I'd like to make a motion that we have conditional offers for employment patrol in this order. Seth White, Rosa Garcia, Zachary Davis, and Matteo Cono Zapata. Do I have a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. On a second motion, in case someone should not pass one of the prerequisites, we have 2 further individuals in this order. Besnick, Memeshad, and Jessica Grillo. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any further business? Motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
The preceding program is brought to you in part through a grant from the town of North Haven. Watch town meetings or other videos on demand at nhtv.com.